this is Jasper,
Hi, I'm Benedict Pordon.
and this is Buzzline Conversations.
So for today, we're going to talk about the article that was released by Buzzline a few days ago, and it's about the CHED. Yes.
Pushing face-to-face classes to medical and allied courses.
Yes, and regarding that article, inside it, we talked about how the CHED chairman himself, Prospero de Vera, is actually starting to visit state universities and colleges to make an ocular visit and see if that particular school is ready for the health protocols that will be implemented once this plan is going to happen.
Okay. So regarding the push of face-to-face classes, there have actually been various approaches by DepEd and CHED with regards to that. And as the president announced last year, face-to-face classes was to be pushed through by January, right?
Yes, supposed to be there is a dry run of face-to-face classes, but in limited areas, in low-risk areas, as far as I know.
Okay. So, but actually, the president retracted this statement due to the new COVID variant entering the country.
He stated it in a Malacanang press briefing on December 26th, to be exact.
Okay. Yeah.
And after that, the Education Secretary, Lina Brillanes, pulled all the plans of the supposed to be dry run for the face-to-face classes.
So Benedict, what's your stand about this issue about the CHED, the DepEd pushing face-to-face classes, even without the availability of the vaccine yet?
Yes. So if we are going to go back to the early phase of the community quarantine and the easing of community quarantine itself, we can see the statements of Duterte starting from the idea that he will only allow the face-to-face classes once there is a vaccine. And back then, he also promised that there will be a vaccine by December. That's what he said, right?
But
December.
as we all know, though vaccines have already been
yes.
Pfizer has just received its EUA recently.
Yes, Emergency Use Authority.
Yeah.
So right now, Pfizer is the only one who has these EUA.
Yes.
So the question right now is that whether we should allow face-to-face classes.
Okay, for me, I think, I'll ask you first anyway. For me, the thing about face-to-face classes without the vaccines would just put the students at risk, They become as
liability.
They become liabilities, and it would cause more of a harm than it would be than the good it will be able to do. So for me, I don't think that we should push through on face-to-face classes without the vaccine yet, without the wide distribution of vaccines. Because if we allow our students to go to schools, we will be exposing them to various health risks. We will be exposing them to the virus, and they might be infected by it. And not only that, if we allow students, which there's a wide number of students in the country, and if we allow them to go in one focused area, the virus might spread much faster.
Yes, it can turn out to be a super spreader.
Yes.
I think what you're trying to point out, Jasper, is the fact that the liability. So, for example, mayroong isang bata na pumasok. Let's just say, hypothetically, meron na tayong face-to-face classes.
Yes.
Meron na tayong face-to-face classes. And pumasok yung bata doon sa school. Like wearing face mask and all, face shield, and with all the precautionary measures that are necessary. So, ang tanong dito, there's still a probability kasi na magkaroon sila ng COVID-19. And when that happens, who will be responsible? Would it be the parents? Would it be the school, or would it be the government itself?
Yes.
So I think that is the very important question that we need to ask when it comes to allowing these children to go to a face-to-face classes without the vaccine.
Yes, I get it. And also, if we do actually implement, this face-to-face classes, what would the procedure look like?
I think the proposals that we've been hearing about for the past few months is that they will limit the sections per class. For example, this particular section would only have 8 to 15 students, so that the classroom will have a lot of space, because we still have to adhere to the physical distancing policy.
But that's actually kind of difficult because although it's just medical students and allied courses, but when if this face to face when this type of face to face classes with health restrictions and all of that be pushed through, it will be difficult because currently or like before the pandemic, classes, the resources for to what do you call this to have classes, especially in public schools, are very limited. Classrooms have been limited. That's why there's like a maximum number, or like there's students exceeding the maximum requirement, or like the maximum capacity of the classrooms, because there is a lack of classrooms. There have also been students that study outside the classroom. So what's going to happen if face to face were to be implemented, and yet still not only are the whatever institutions going to be implementing the health protocols, but are schools actually prepared for this?
Yes, kasi kung isipin natin, no, even before the pandemic, there's already a lack of classrooms. Kasi like what you said, there's already a room, public schools having 40 students in one room, or maybe if 50 or more than that, maybe. Kasi nga, there's a lack of classrooms. Now, the question is, if we are going to separate those students, like group them into particular sections, so dadami yung sections. Ang magiging problema natin dyan, yes, madidivide nga natin sila. Ang tanong, meron ba tayong facilities na allotted para doon?
Yeah, the answer is most probably
not.
We don't. Yes.
Because as we have seen, although public schools modernization has been in the process since before, pero talaga makikita natin yung realidad na parang marami pa ring classrooms na kailangan sa public school, and right now more than ever we need these classrooms kasi nililimitahan natin yung estudyante na nasa loob ng classroom na yon para masunod pa rin yung supposed to be physical distancing while studying.
But let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about what the government has already done with regards to education, which is actually having online classes and modular classes.
Yes, because kasi sa pandemic nga, dahil may pandemic, hindi tayo makakalabas. So, face-to-face classes was prohibited from the past few months. So, itong starting ng academic year natin, ang nangyari is nag-shift tayo sa online setup. So, most of the students, they are learning from the comfort of their homes, but some of students, of course, because of the connectivity issues, they chose to have modular approach or even hybrid.
But if I were be asked about my opinion in online classes, I love my teachers, I love my professors, and I swear by that. But to be honest, and I say this with like, I say this as honestly as I can, it's that it seems like education, especially on the online classes type of education, is that does it actually have a difference if we were, for example, look for a course in Khan Academy, which is, as I would say, free. So, for example, professors, our teachers, where do they get their resources now?
Well, it would be from the internet.
From the internet,
websites,
yes. Like almost every information has already been in the internet. And yes, of course, our professors send us their recordings. Yes. So what I'm going to ask you is that what's the difference between an Indian guy in YouTube telling you the lessons, teaching you formulas in math and physics and chemistry and other subjects, and your professor discussing your lessons? Basically, it's very, very similar. Sometimes, I'm not going to say always, but sometimes there are times when these Indian guys in YouTube, or like some educational channel in YouTube, or like an educational website, does it better,
kasi minsan, di ba, for example, we don't understand how formulas work in mathematics, especially for college students. They have economic subjects, and they have to learn the different formulas in order to get the answer. And most of the time, we students, they learn from YouTube.
Yeah, if we can ask our teachers.
Yeah, we go to YouTube.
Which is actually much more accessible. But the thing is, it's actually quite, as I would say, is that, what's the difference of, not enrolling at the moment and just using that time studying free lectures on the internet?
Yes, kasi kung isipin natin, YouTube, pwede ka mag-switch ng formulas. You can learn mathematics, history, and
Yes,
even
yes.
language in YouTube. But I think if I'm going to oppose that kind of idea is yung kasing mayroon tayong tinatawag na parang yung syllabus na pina-follow.
Okay.
So I think when it comes to that kind of matter, feeling ko ang kaibahan ng kung nag-enroll ka sa online classes sa academic institution, mabibigyan ka ng parang step-by-step process kung paano mag-aral. Unlike doon sa kung matututo ka doon sa YouTube lang, no?
Okay, but like with that, with like this step-by-step thing, if you've ever been on Khan Academy and their website, there's actually special, there's actually this, interface type of thing where lessons there's like certain numberings of lessons, like
so parang sila structured.
Yeah, it's already structured. Basically, if you go there and you want to study a certain topic, you can already study that, and there's already this systematized version that you can simply that you can easily assimilate, and I'll tell you that this is a really kind of negative opinion, but
so
the difference for me between enrolling for like the online schools and like watching or like looking for information in the internet is basically thousands of pesos, because you just the difference is like you just have to pay for online education, when in fact the resources, the information, the data,
I think, Jasper, what you're trying to point out is that kung di ba nga sa online class, binibigyan lang tayo ng mga modules ng mga teachers natin.
Yeah.
At tapos naman pagka naman pumunta ka sa YouTube, parang parehas lang naman din, di ba?
Similar, it's similar. Yes.
Similar na to the fact na binibigyan ka din ng step-by-step process sa YouTube. So, ang parang pinapoint out mo is this. Online classes, enrolling to academic institutions, we're gonna have to enroll like 40,000 for just, having to access these modules that is supposed to be prepared by your teachers. However, tulad nga na sinabi mo, saan nga ba nanggaling yung mga modules na to? Hindi ba sa internet din? Pag nakita mo yung mga modules, yung resources or yung references nakalagay galing pa lang sa ibang website.
Yeah. I'm not generalizing it, and I'm probably not like actually saying that these resources are all from the internet, but I'm sure that you can find them on the internet.
Yeah, the same concept, the same lessons
concept,
can be found in YouTube or in some place somewhere else.
And like even our books, there are various websites where, and this is not a good practice, of course. Like you can pirate books, you can download pirated books on.
Yes, it's true. It's
on the internet. Like a lot of people have been doing that, although we don't really recommend that. But you can do it if you want to. So the real question here is that, although not really the question, but the real problem here is not really whether we should go face to face or we should go online. But the problem is whatever we choose between the two is really just bad. Is really just a bad option. No matter what we choose, like even if we choose face-to-face classes, we risk ourselves of being exposed to the virus. And even if we choose, online classes, it's simply inefficient, ineffective, while it's also not helping us learn anything. If not that, then you're seeing the difference between you're not seeing the difference between paid education and free education. Not really that. What I'm trying to say is that you're not seeing the true value of what education actually is when it comes from institutions. You see that it's basically almost the same if whether we enroll or we don't. So whether we choose face-to-face or online classes, both of these things are just bad choices. And this issue is not the problem itself. These in my opinion, are only effects of what the actual problem is. What the actual problem is.
It's the symptoms of a
Yeah.
underlying condition that is much, much worse.
Yes, that's what I would say. And what is this? What is this sickness that causes this? Symptom of the problem of education in the time of the pandemic. It's the pandemic itself, and the bad governance
Yes.
of the pandemic.
Kasi nga, like what you said earlier, because of the pandemic, we shifted to online setup.
Yes,
and with
yes.
online setup, we somehow
And not just that, we shifted to online setup without actually being ready for an online type of,
Yeah.
online.
That's the point. Kasi nga, nag-shift tayo sa online setup, knowing that there's an issue with connectivity, knowing na mabagal ang internet sa Pilipinas.
Pag umulan, namamatay-matay ang internet.
Di ba? Nawawalan na yung connection. And then, yun nga, na-realize natin na mahirap talaga mag-online classes kasi nga sa connectivity issues.
Yes,
However,
yes.
on the other side, we were also able to realize the fact na may online classes, binibigyan tayo ng modules na pinipared ng mga professors natin na alam ko ano yung pinipare nila yan, nagpuyat sila para dyan. But somehow, we have realized something that is actually surprising. Dahil nga, itong mga modules na to is online nga din. So, mayroon talagang mga sources yung mga teachers natin na kinukuha din from internet.
Yes, that's
And because
true.
of that, we realized na ano nga ba yung kaibahan kung nag-enroll ka sa online classes ngayong taon o hindi. Kasi,
Alam ko na.
Kasi,
Stress. Joke lang.
Hindi, kasi for example mag-aaral ka na, let's just say, history. History.
Yes.
You can learn history from online. You can learn history from different websites. And like, nung quarantine, may sumikat na yung Education X ba yun? Yung Harvard X na.
Yeah. Online, free online lectures.
Free
And
online
that's from
lecture.
Harvard pa.
Diba? Pero ngayon nga, dahil nga doon, na-realize natin, ano nga ba yung kaibahan? So,
Yes.
because of that, because of online classes, na-weigh natin yung kaibahan and we were able to analyze kung ano yung difference ng may bayad tapos yung libre. And because of that, we somehow doubted the value of education.
Yes.
Tapos ngayon naman, pinasan mo kanina yung idea na kung saan somehow our students, our parents are faced with in a dilemma. Kung papasok ba yung mga anak nila face-to-face classes habang wala pang vaccine. Kasi
Yes.
alam natin ngayon na hindi pa rin available ang vaccine. And even if the vaccine is available,
How
we
will it-
don't like the brand.
And like, how will it actually be distributed?
Yes.
There has not been any concrete plans as of now, and as of
At saka yung factor na yung ibang parents ayaw pa bukunahan yung anak nila.
Yes,
So,
yes,
paano
yes,
ba
yes.
mangyayari? So, there's still a lot of questions when it comes to allowing these students to go to face-to-face classes.
Yes, that's
Like
true.
yung sabi namin kanina, sino yung liable? Tapos naman yung factor, kailangan ba pagka pinapasok yung estudyante, bakuna na?
Yeah, oo nga,
Kasi
yeah.
yung isang tanong ngayon, kailangan ba mandatory yung pagpababakuna? Kasi
Yes, that's
alam
right.
naman natin na meron pa rin mga parents na hesitant when it comes to getting vaccinated.
Yes, that's true.
So,
like, not just parents, actually, like people in general are doubtful about vaccines itself, despite the said efficacy rates.
Yeah, but I think that is another episode for
yeah.
that because
It's another topic to
topic
talk
of
about.
the vaccine is we need a expert when it comes to that, and it needs another episode.
Yes, it does. But going back to the online or face-to-face classes, what I'm trying to say and what we're trying to say is that no matter what choice you choose, you're just going to face a problem
Yeah.
that should not have actually been a problem if the pandemic
Was
was
handled.
handled properly.
Yes.
So now, even if we're going to be, we're going to adjust to the current situation, and we are currently adjusting to the
Yes,
situation.
we're still adjusting.
We deserve better.
Yes.
We deserve so much better.
Yes. Kasi like before the online classes started, we know that a lot of students actually, and including some of the teachers, actually push for an academic freeze.
Yeah.
However, in my opinion, this is an objective opinion of mine. I myself did not support this academic freeze because
yes.
I think it will be very much futile. Because if you conduct or implement academic freeze, a lot of teachers will actually lose their jobs.
Yes, that's true.
And one generation of students will be held back because of this academic freeze
Yes,
if
that's
it
true.
happened. And fortunately, it did not. We somehow
Managed
to go with online classes despite the problems and issues that we have faced during the
Yes.
process.
So basically, the verdict of education in the pandemic, it's basically a checkmate.
Yes.
No matter which move we make, no matter what we do, we'll basically just lose if the pandemic is not handled properly. Because simply as we've said, the education right now, or like the current state of our education, which is online and modular setup, is basically just a symptom of what the actual sickness is.
Yes.
So
We still have an underlying condition that we need to actually diagnose and treat. And I think the audience already knows, I think the audience need to, the one to analyze what this underlying condition is.
So, that's it for now. And this is Jasper Amadeo.
And I'm Benedict Pagan.
And this has been Buzz 9 Conversation.